in Sagebrush County, Arizona. The law rides quiet, but not when HOA chaos comes calling. What starts as a simple fence repair turns into a full-blown federal circus. When a clipboard, happy neighbor accuses the local sheriff of running a covert livestock militia. Sounds insane. That's because it is. Grab your boots. This isn't just a story about rules gone wild. It's about what happens when petty power meets a man who is the law. My name is Clint Rawlins, Sheriff of Sagebrush County, Arizona. I've seen some wild things in my time: drug busts in abandoned barns, cattle rustlers on ATVs, and one guy who tried to rob a gas station with a rattlesnake. But none of that prepared me for the suburban madness that would erupt thanks to a woman with a drone and a clipboard. It started quietly, as these things often do. I had just bought a little ranch-style home on the edge of Sagebrush Estates. Not much to look at from the road: a faded barn, rusting tractor, and a few acres of pasture for my horses. It was peaceful. And best of all, I made damn sure the property wasn't under HOA jurisdiction. Twice. But peace doesn't last long when someone like Karen Holloway decides it shouldn't. Karen was a retired librarian turned HOA tyrant. She had crowned herself queen of the neighborhood, printing her own bylaws, forming a neighborhood tactical oversight committee, and patrolling the streets like a Cold War informant. She drove a golf cart covered in eagle decals and had binoculars slung around her neck like a badge of honor. The first sign of trouble came with a buzzing sound over my pasture. I looked up to see a drone equipped with a camera, hovering like a mechanical mosquito over my corral. I waved. It didn't wave back. The next morning, I got an email CC'd to the FBI, USDA, and the mayor's office. The subject line: urgent, unauthorized paramilitary livestock base. Karen accused me of training horses for crowd control, claimed my niece's FaceTime call was encrypted coordination, and said my compost pile was a biohazard. She even attached a blurry image of a cow next to a water trough. I didn't respond. I printed the email, framed it, and labeled it Citizen of the Month. But Karen escalated. She began taping citations to my mailbox: fines for non-uniform hay stacking, suspicious tarp usage, and unregistered tactical feed bins. She filed noise complaints about my rooster. She once chased a UPS driver down the road yelling, "I know what you're delivering," one of my deputies, Sam, caught her filming from behind a mesquite bush. When confronted, she shouted, "I have rights," and retreated into her cart. I kept documenting. Then Karen crossed the line. She accused a young EMT couple, who had just moved in, of harboring weaponized garden gnomes and strategic grass overgrowth. She threatened them with liens. That night, the couple knocked on my door, visibly shaken. That was it. I took everything: drone footage, logs, complaints, trespass reports, and presented them at the next HOA meeting. Karen was there, dressed like a courtroom bailiff, holding a manila folder labeled Operation Law and Order. I stood and said, calmly, "I'm here as your neighbor, but I'll remind everyone stalking, drone surveillance, mail tampering, and harassment are crimes. This ends now." Karen turned beet red. She opened her mouth to speak, but the board didn't let her. They voted unanimously to strip her of all titles, dissolve her committee, and enact a drone ban. But Karen wasn't done. 2 days later, my garage was spray-painted "We warned you." Caught on my security cameras. Karen, in broad daylight, holding the can. I pressed the silent alarm in my pocket. Within minutes, unmarked SUVs rolled in. FBI agents stepped out and cuffed her. Charges: federal vandalism, harassment, and misuse of FAA-restricted airspace. But it didn't stop there. Turns out, Karen had been forging bylaws and using intimidation to force elderly residents to sell their homes below market value, which were then bought up by her nephew's real estate firm. It was a racket. And now, it was federal. Victims testified. Evidence piled up. Karen took a plea deal: 5 years in prison. restitution, and a ban from participating in any HOA for life. The HOA voted in new leadership, reasonable folks. The old office became a community center. Our annual barbecue had record turnout that year. Someone even brought a cake that read Mission Karen Terminated. As for me, I ride patrol in peace. My niece FaceTimes without scrutiny. Whiskey. My dog. Naps in the sun. Karen forgot one thing. Power doesn't come from clipboards and fear. It comes from integrity, truth, and knowing when to let the horse rest. And in Sagebrush County, the law doesn't bark. It just waits, quiet, steady, and ready.